Hey everyone, Cal Ewing here, and I've got a special video interview for you guys. I just thought it would be very useful for many new real estate and note investors out there that are looking to get started. I'm here with Cole Wyllie, and how old are you, Cole? 19, did you say?
19. I turned 20 in about 3 weeks now.
Okay, awesome. So Cole reached out to me. He has seen some of my mortgage note training and other real estate training. We're connected in some of the same Facebook groups and that kind of thing. And so Cole had reached out to me with some questions about how to get started. He's brand new to real estate, wants to get into notes. And I just thought it'd be a really cool opportunity for him and I to have a chat. And because I'll bet you a lot of his questions are going to be similar to what many people are wondering, especially if you're younger and you want to get started. And I know if I could start all over, I'd have many things I'd do differently. And so I just thought it would be a cool way to, I can help Cole out, answer his questions, but also help a lot of other people. So, Cole, why don't you just say a little bit about yourself and where you're at and why you wanted to get involved in notes and real estate?
Yeah. Well, I'm in Mike Wolf's group with my mom. She's the one who got me into that sort of group and explained kind of what he does. Um, and then when I saw the first note investing thing come up, it just sounded super feasible and interesting to me. So I'm super eager to learn, and I really want to get into that sort of space. I'm really grateful that you would talk to me on the subject and answer some of my questions.
Cool. So, what is it about real estate? Is it just through learning through your mom? And because I know she's really interested in real estate, is that kind of how you got into it, or?
Yeah, I don't really know if there's a certain thing. She actually called me
Yeah,
out of the blue one day,
yeah,
and kind of explained the whole Mike Wolf situation to me, and I was like, oh, well, that sounds really interesting. Um, and I'm kind of in a spot where I don't really know where I want to go next. So I feel like that kind of helped me feel like to give me some sort of direction on something I might want to do in the future.
yeah. Awesome. So, just so everyone knows, Mike Wolf was my first mentor. So I started real estate. I was a little bit older than you. I think I was like 25. And so he's a Canadian as well. Both of us are Canadian, you and I. And so he got me started in real estate. And so he's teaching a group of students. And that's where your mom encountered him, right? You and your mom are part of his group. Okay. Just so people know. Cool. So you were going to school. You were telling me before. You're playing basketball, but you're also going to school. What was your major, or what is it? Do you know?
I was never in college. I did a post
Oh, okay.
grad basketball year, and then I was going to this
Gotcha.
year, and it just
Okay.
didn't play out.
Got it.
Um,
Okay.
yeah.
So do you have any idea just kind of where you want to head for a career, like things that you're interested? Like, is it finance and that kind of thing, or?
I think somewhere in the space that could be relative
Yeah.
to what I'd be learning with this would be something that I'd be interested in for sure.
Okay, cool. Awesome.
But yeah, I'm
Um,
still kind of exploring right now. I'm not really too
yeah.
sure what direction I want to head.
Yeah. Well, you're 19. You got a lot of time to figure that out, so no rush.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. I just think it's really cool that you're interested so early because I mean, there's people that get started in real estate when they're, retired and are able to make something of it, but you having your entire career ahead of you, like um that's awesome because if you can start on the right path now, make some mistakes at a young age where you don't really have a lot to
Yeah.
lose, you don't have a family and a mortgage and all that, you're going to be just so well prepared for life, gaining that experience right now. Because, like, I'm sure most of the kids your age aren't really thinking about real estate much or their finances.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I know I was playing guitar and trying to be a rock star, playing in bars and
Yeah.
stuff.
I'm still
That's
I'm still playing guitar. I've got two over here too. So
nice. Cool. All right. Well, yeah. So, like, I guess let's just go with some of the questions I'm happy to answer about notes.
yeah.
And yeah,
So one question I would have is I know that you don't need a license yourself, but you have to partner with some sort of licensing company, if that sounds right, with notes, or how does that whole thing work?
yeah. So some states require you to have a license to buy and sell mortgages for your own
Okay.
investment. Okay. But a lot of the states you can actually, as long as you have a servicing company that is managing your notes, your portfolio, and they are licensed in that state, then you're good to go. So every state's different. So I recommend, like, if you're looking at buying a note in a specific state, first of all, have a servicing company in mind, and I can connect you with the servicing company I use, or a couple.
Okay.
And just talk to them. Say, look, I just want to make sure I can actually buy this note without needing to be licensed. And then just ask them, are you licensed? And could you manage this note for me? And what servicing companies do is they basically do all the work for you, all the bookkeeping and accounting and borrower outreach. So when you buy a note, you basically send them all the details of the property, the borrower, the amount that they owe, like all of the interest rate, like all the details, and then they take it from there. If they're a good company, then they'll send a welcome letter to that borrower and say, hey, I just want to introduce you. We're the servicing company. Your lender is Cole, and or whatever your company is or whatever, but
Yeah.
your new lender is that. You'll be making payments to this servicing company now every month. Here's how you make your payments. If you have any questions, the whole thing, like they do the onboarding for you.
Okay.
And you shouldn't have to even reach out to them, to that borrower. I mean, you can if you want, but they kind of handle all that. And then they keep track of the payments, the late fees, all of that. So you don't have to.
Okay. And then I'm assuming that costs some amount of money.
Yep. So they charge, and it's usually a small amount. And that's one thing you want to ask when you're working with the servicing company is, what's your fees? Sometimes if you're originating a brand new mortgage where let's say you're selling a house and you're taking a down payment from the buyer, and then you're creating a note and they're paying you, you can actually build it in that they pay the servicing cost sometimes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And then does that vary by state? Like, would you need one different servicing company in each state, or is it if you have one, you can work through as many states with just that one servicing company?
So a lot of them are licensed in multiple states. So that's
Okay.
what you want to check. Like I've been working with Covey Financial in Texas, but I can't remember exactly how many states, but like the majority of states they're licensed in.
Okay.
Yeah. And so if I were to buy a note in some state that they weren't, I would just reach out to some of the people I know in the note business and get a referral to someone that can work in that state to service it.
Okay. All right, that makes sense.
Yeah.
All right. Another question I would have is this something that you need a bit of a team with, or is it viable just as yourself?
Yeah, both kind of. So the thing I like about it is you need less of a team than with buying houses and flipping, or even
Yeah.
rentals and stuff. What you do need is, as a Canadian especially, you need a good cross-border accountant, because you're going to be making money in the US. And so you're going to need someone that can handle if you need to file taxes in the US, they'll make sure that you're doing it correctly. And then you'll probably have to pay tax in Canada as well, because Canada has the higher rate. So usually you pay the smaller amount in the US and then the rest in Canada. So
Okay.
yeah, that's one person you need for sure. If you get really serious about it and you're buying a lot of notes, you'll probably want some kind of US company, like a business entity set up, or even more than one if you have a lot of notes. And so that accountant can tell you what you're supposed to set up from a Canadian's perspective. And if you're American, then what to set up as an American too. So if anyone's watching that's American. So those are two people you need on your team, but they're more, once a year or just getting set up. You don't need to be, reaching out every note that you buy.
Okay.
But then for buying notes in general, your team would be more. I can connect you with someone. He actually helps me. He's well connected all across the U.S. And he can get you broker price opinions. So if you're looking at buying a note, one thing you want to do is figure out how much that property is worth. And so I can connect you with him. And he can get you a realtor that can go out to the property and do a broker price opinion and come back with a value assessment. So they're going to look at similar houses that sold in the area, and then similar houses that are listed right now on the MLS that are hoping to be sold. And then they'll also look at the condition of the property, the external, like they can't go inside, but they'll look and say like, oh, the roof should probably be fixed on this house. So here's the value without the roof fixed. Here's the value of the house if you were to fix the roof, kind of thing. So you need someone that can do that, and this guy's kind of a one-stop shop. So someone like that can do the broker price opinions, and then you need someone that can do a title search, because what you want to do is make sure that. So it's kind of, if you're brand new to real estate, when a property gets sold, it has a history of owners, right?
Yeah.
So when I buy a house, say I'm buying a house from you. Well, you're giving me the deed. You're deeding that property to me. So now I'm the owner. And then if I get a mortgage, well, now that lender has that mortgage secured to that property as a lien. And let's say then I stopped mowing my grass. Well, maybe the city will have to come and mow it. So they're going to put a lien on the house. So there's all these things that are tied to that piece of property. And you want to know everything that's currently tied to that property. And also, as it's been transferred from one owner to the other, you want to make sure that there's no, errors or gaps, because someone could come out of nowhere and say, hey, my grandfather that passed away, I was supposed to inherit that house, but it got given to someone else, and I'm going to sue now because it should be rightfully mine. Or, it's kind of an extreme case, but so you want to be able to check. What's that?
Would you have to deal with that if that situation like arose? You have to deal with it, or is that more
maybe? I mean, that, like, as a buyer, when you're buying a house, that's what title insurance is. So a lot of times, especially in the US, well, actually I think everywhere, you want to have what's called a title insurance policy on your property. And even as a lender, like if you buy a note, it's good to be included in that insurance policy or have a lender policy. And what that does is, if something like that happens, there's insurance that'll cover it. So they'll basically, you won't have to come up and lose your house or come up with the cost to buy that person out. Or, if they sue you, that insurance policy will cover any issues with that. Yeah.
Okay.
So a title search, you want to get that done. And so you just need to have a reliable company that can do that. Like I use Pro Title USA is a good company, and there's lots. And then, but yeah, like the guy that I use that's well connected and has all these things taken care of for you. His name is Dickie Baldwin, and his company's called Baldwin Advisory Group. And I can email you his contact.
Yeah.
But so when I go to buy a note, and I get my bid accepted, then I go to him and say, look, I need a title search, and I need a broker price opinion, or I need a drive-by. I need someone to go check out that property, see if it's vacant, check the condition of the property, take some photos for me. And so his team, like, he's so well connected that he can get all that done for you. Basically anything you need as a note investor, he's got connections that he can make it happen. So it's kind of like a one-stop shop. Yeah.
Cool.
And then if you have to ever foreclose, it's good to have a real estate attorney that can do the foreclosure for you. And that's just through word of mouth. Like, again, that guy can help you. Dickie he can help you talking to other note investors, or even just searching like real estate attorneys in that state and reaching out to them. And that's kind of it.
Okay, yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
Let's see here. So what would be some ways that you would raise funding if you don't already have like your own capital?
Yeah, good question. So every investor gets to that point, whether they start with $10 million or zero. Eventually you get to the point where your money is all deployed into deals and you still want to keep growing, right?
Yeah.
So I think for me, and a lot of the mentors that I've had, it's two things. It's marketing yourself, whether that's online or just connecting with people, going to real estate events, getting out in your community, talking to lots of people. But this day and age, it's particularly just online marketing. So even when you're getting started at a young age, like, I mean, creating, whether it's like short videos on like YouTube Shorts and TikToks and Instagram, just creating bits of content. If you're doing a deal, like I got started buying foreclosures, and I would do I'd go down to Texas and I'd shoot all these walkthrough videos of the property. And then I'd go and show a month later, like, this is what we've done in the renovations. This is where we're at now. And I'd post them all. And I got a lot of people that started following me, and a lot of people asked questions. A lot of people loved seeing the property go from like trash to
Yeah.
good. And then as a note investor, even just talking about deals you're looking at. So showing photos even from Google Street View, this is the property. Here are the details on the note. Just basically sharing what you're doing. And there are going to be people out there that connect with you. They like your style. Maybe they're similar age to you or whatever it is. Like, they just kind of connect with the way you do your content. And it's
Yeah.
like any brand. It doesn't have to be real estate. It's the same thing. Basically building that following. And then people will start, you'll start building connections with people, and people will start reaching out to you. And you want to look for people, especially with notes. Like, you want to be, in order to do it the right way, you want to be doing it with people that are willing to lend money, like as a loan secured to that note,
Yeah.
where then you pay them a set interest rate. You got to be careful if you're going to do like a partnership. A lot of times you can get in trouble with the securities board, where they don't like you doing joint venture partnerships with people you don't know, or you're not friends or family with. So
Yeah.
yeah, so long story short, it's like, just get yourself out there and just start creating content. It might take a few years to build that following. Like
Yeah.
Mike Wolf, that mentor that we were connected through, he's done an amazing job of, like, he's always traveling, going to events, meeting people, and he's just over time built this massive network of people.
Yeah.
And it's all about how many people you've got in your network. Really is a people business more than a property business.
Yeah. And then
So
I feel like it would help to kind of get started on that while I'm learning, so that when I feel like I'm ready to fully kind of be in the space, I kind of have connections pre-made, I guess.
yeah, I would say, like, I think what people really want is just authentic people. Like, there's so much
Yeah.
fake crap out there, as you know. Like, if you go on social media, there's so much that's fake. Like, you get those guys that like rent out private jets just to film a video, or like the
Yeah.
sports cars, and they don't actually own them, but they pretend and they shoot a
Yeah.
video, and then they, like, people, I think, see through that. Like, and if you're just honest, like where you're at, and that's what I learned kind of the hard way. But like, I used to be really worried about like the production quality and lighting and sound, and like having to do like 100 takes of things. But I found that people just like the fact that I was just being me, and sometimes I'd say things wrong, or whatever. But people like the fact that you're just authentic, and
Yeah.
they like to see your journey and that you're taking action, because most people are scared. They don't know how to take action, or they're scared to. And if they see you doing it, then they'll want to be involved in some way. So
Yeah, especially if it seems less fake and forced. I feel like it's more
yeah.
relatable.
Yeah. And like, I had a partner that I started my investing journey with, and she was always scared because she was from Russia. And she was always scared because she's like, well, yeah, but I don't speak very good English. And so, like, it really held her back for wanting to network and do that kind of thing. She's like, yeah, but people won't want to talk to me. And I think that's not true. Like, and so if I were you, just because you're young and new, don't let that stop you, because there's going to be a whole
Yeah.
different group of people that flock to you than they would to me. Right. And you just got to be where you're at and be confident where you're at, even
Yeah.
if you feel like you don't know much.
Yeah. Um, okay, I've got a question that's a little bit more personal to me rather than note wise.
Sure.
Um, but I kind of wanted to know your opinion on what would be some low level like entry level investing opportunities for someone like me, like low capital, just trying to like learn and get into the mindset of having that sort of cash flow or looking for something to get into that.
Yeah. Well, that's one good thing about notes. So properties, a lot of times you got to have quite a bit of money, even if you're getting a
Mhm.
mortgage. But with notes, like there's a lot of notes out there on like, especially in the Midwest where property values are a lot lower. Um, you can get notes. Like I just did a deal where the note cost 15 grand. And
Oh
you
wow.
know, yeah. And I think the yield on it was like 14% or something like that. So something like that. I mean, you're going to make a couple $100 a month, but it's easy to get in, and that's money coming in now, every
Yeah.
single month. So there's like these small deals where you can do those kind of deals and start, bringing in streams of passive income.
Yeah.
The other thing is just getting connected and getting good at finding the deals, and then basically you can broker or wholesale or assign them to other investors. So you might get really good at finding like high end deals that are, $100,000, $200,000 deals. If you can get good at finding them and knowing what a good deal is and growing a network of other investors, then that's where things happen, because everyone's looking for deals, right?
Yeah.
If you've got one, you can either, maybe you can partner with somebody, or you get a referral fee and they take the deal and you charge a percentage or two. Like I did a lot of that with houses. Is I would wholesale houses and make money
Yeah.
that way.
Yeah.
So
I didn't even think of the wholesaling kind of middleman side of notes. So that's super
yeah,
interesting.
yeah. And so in that way, what I would do if I were you, if that's the route you wanted to take, is get on LinkedIn and just type in note investor. And like anyone that's a note investor, they all put it in their profile. So it's really easy. Same with
Yeah.
real estate investor. Everyone wants everyone to know, right? So it's easy to
Yeah.
find those people and just start networking. And then you can maybe find buyers that way.
Yeah. I feel like I might be able to get into kind of like the lower end side of stuff decently soon after I learn and kind of feel more comfortable
Yeah.
heading into that because my mom basically wants me to do all the heavy lifting and all like the learning and stuff.
Yeah.
And then I know she's got some uh investment amount of money coming through, and she's like, "Well, look, if you can learn everything about this whole thing that there is, then she'll kind of act like the investor,
Yeah.
and then I can know what to do with it."
That
Um,
happened to me too, actually. My dad, he kind of said the same thing. He's like, if you can figure this out, he's like, I'm happy to invest in some of your first deals. And that's good
yeah,
because you got that support, and obviously family, they're going to be more, lenient on the fact that you're growing. So yeah, that's a good way to start.
yeah. Okay, I've got one more question.
Mhm.
Um, where essentially does the profit come from known investing? Is it kind of buying at a discount and then the passive income comes through until you kind of make your money back an extra, or are you having that income come in and then reselling the note for a profit after?
Kind of all of the above.
Okay.
So there's a couple different ways. It depends on the type of note and the price you buy it at. So you can buy a note at par, which means, let's say I'm buying a note and it's 50,000 is what the borrower owes, right? They owe 50 grand, and say they're paying 8% interest. Okay, that's the rate that they got with the bank. You go to that bank and say, I'll buy it for 50 grand. So you're not getting a discount, you're just buying it, right? So
Yeah.
now that borrower owes you that 50 grand at 8% interest. And so now you're getting monthly income, and that's kind of like what your yield is, depending on how far along they are in the loan, as far as how long
Yeah.
they're paying on it. So that's one way. You're just getting the interest, essentially,
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
right? Just like the bank does. They lend the money, they profit from the interest. But if you buy it at a discount, let's say you buy it for 40, well, now that 8% that they're paying, that interest rate, you're actually making more than 8% because they're going to give you 50 back, but you only invested 40. So you're
Okay. Yeah.
you're making an extra yield on that money that you've invested. Okay. So that's if they're paying. And then let's say a few years from now, they sell the house, they get a whatever, they move, right? Well, or maybe they get a new mortgage at a better rate. They refinance with a better bank. So
Yeah.
they'll pay you, let's just say they pay you 50, but you invested 40. So you've been making the interest payments, and then they give you that 10 grand that you made, but because you bought at a discount, you basically make it, right?
Okay. Yeah, makes sense.
But you could also sell the note. Like there's so many angles. That's why it's tough to answer the question. Like you could
Yeah.
buy it at a discount, and then let's say the borrower hasn't been paying, right? And then you buy that note and get them back on track because you modified the terms of the note, right? So let's say maybe they were behind on their payments for like say 6 months behind. And you said, okay, if you can get back on track paying regularly, just your regular payment, maybe we'll move that 6 months of back missed payments to the back end of the loan and we'll rewrite the loan. And so they say sure, and then they get back on track, right? Then you could go and sell that note because now they've been paying, let's say they've been paying for a year consistently, they're back on track. Well, you could sell that note at 80 cents on the dollar, like 80% of the unpaid balance. If you bought it for
Okay.
60, say, and so you can capture that profit there too.
Okay. So if it's like a non-performing and get it back on track and then you can sell it as a performing.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Or keep it. If it's back on track, then you could keep it too, right?
Okay.
And then the last scenario is, well, what if they aren't performing and they stop performing, right? In that case, then you have to go the foreclosure route. And if you bought it at a big enough discount, when you foreclose and it gets sold off at the auction, at the foreclosure auction, you basically, if it sells above what you're owed, like let's say you bought it for, they owe 50 and the house sells for 80, let's say, well, you're going to get that full 50 back when it sells at the auction.
Okay.
So if you bought it less than 50, then you're going to profit at the foreclosure auction as well. So
Okay,
there's
cool.
lots of ways to get paid in notes. It's not a simple answer. Mhm.
Yeah, it seems like there's lots of angles, but that's why it's so interesting too.
Yeah, yeah. So
Okay, well, I think that's all the questions I have. I don't know if you have any sort of advice to
yeah,
give
like I
me.
just I just think it's awesome that you're getting started early. Like real estate investing is really, it's you're constantly learning your whole career.
Yeah.
And even just on the path that you're on right now, you already know just from like the courses and videos and stuff you've been watching, you know more than like 80% of the people out there. So if you just keep growing and taking action, like the big thing is start taking action as soon as you can, and don't just
Yeah.
be scared and just keep watching books and or watching podcasts and videos and reading books and never doing anything. Like a lot of people get in that mode of like, yeah, someday I'll do this, but I need to watch more videos or I need to learn another strategy first. And then the
Yeah.
next thing you know, you're going to be 30 and you still haven't done anything. So you don't want to be that person. You want to take action early, and
Yeah.
you want to make smart choices, but like have people around you, like Mike Wolf or myself, or just people that know what they're doing that you can go to as mentors. And even if it's just go for a coffee or have a Zoom chat, to help you along in learning what the steps are. Just keep taking even little actions. You'll gain momentum and experience, and pretty soon you're going to have a ton of deals under your belt, and you're going to be like way ahead of all the other people your age because you started when you were 19, and you're going to have assets and cash flow, and maybe you can retire early, and whatever you're passionate about you can do that because
Yeah.
you don't need a day job, so you can travel or do whatever the heck you like, right?
Yeah.
But it's all about taking action, and a lot of people miss that part or are scared to. um, so that's a big thing. The other thing is, I think you got to get yourself in the mindset that you actually are a real estate investor. And I remember when I was first getting started, like feeling kind of like a fake or a phony, like knowing that I'm brand new and like trying to do these things, but just feeling like a complete newbie and being really scared and not really viewing myself as a real estate investor, like trying to tell people that I am, but like not feeling it. And I remember
Yeah.
the second that it kind of changed, and I'm like, no, I know so much now just from my like obsession with real estate. I actually know a ton.
Yeah.
And I actually am a real estate investor. And like, even if you do one deal, like you are now a real estate investor. And like, if you, the second you start believing it, then you got that confidence, and then people start feeling that confidence coming out of you, and it just builds from there. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I'm super grateful that I've got like people that I can talk to, connected with like you and Mike Wolf, for what seems to be like something hard to learn. Uh,
Yeah.
it's definitely been a little bit easier.
Yeah. And like,
Um,
literally, even just these kind of conversations, like people in Mike Wolf's group, if you can even take the time to just have phone calls, like if you can block time in your schedule, this is what another mentor told me, every day, like, or sorry, every week, be like, this is when I'm going to make phone calls, and just reach out to people that are, that you know. So it could be like people in Mike's group, people like myself, attorneys, other investors that you meet. Just start making connections and like getting on calls, or even like people in your network that aren't in real estate, and just chatting, and like just kind of sort of dropping the idea that, yeah, you're a real estate investor, and you don't have to like be annoying or pushy, but like always be thinking about how you can build your network of people, because you never know who could be a partner, or like a private lender, or that someone that might find a deal for you, or like, just, you never know. Like there's just so many crazy connections that you can make to get deals done. And so if you're getting in front of people all the time and having conversations so that they know you and remember you, it's only going to help you as you're growing. So just,
yeah, I
and keep a
definitely,
database, like keep emails, like start building an email list now of like real estate people. And as you like grow and start getting deals, like start just reaching out to them and connecting, and some will unsubscribe. But like, if you start now, by the time you're my age, you're going to have like 100,000 emails in your database.
yeah.
And if you have deals to do, you'll be able to find money or partners or whatever. So,
Yeah, I think that's probably the biggest thing too that I need to start is the networking and putting myself out there.
yeah.
Um, so I think I'll definitely start taking action with that pretty soon here, especially as I feel like the learning's picking up and I'm starting to understand the whole space a little bit better too.
Yeah. And don't feel like, don't be afraid to reach out with questions, like myself, Mike,
Yeah,
all
I
those
definitely
people are
will.
happy. Yeah. So, and don't even be afraid if it seems like a dumb question, because like we all didn't know it either. I still ask dumb questions. So, yeah.
Yeah, I'm full of a lot of dumb questions. So
Everyone is, though. That's how you learn it. Right. So.